The news moves fast. Kevin Smith is rejecting the premise that Masters of the Universe Revelation performing poorly had anything to do with the live-action He-Man getting axed at Netflix. Smith's rejection of these theories and speculation comes after a report from Variety's Matt Donnelly that the live-action He-Man film that had moved to Netflix in 2022 was getting scrapped at the streamer. Donnelly posited the main reason for the film being scrapped was due to budget concerns, with him reporting insiders said that close to $30 million has already been spent on development costs and the cash has been shelled out to hold on to talent, like previously announced lead Kyle Allen and the film's heat-seeking directing duo Adam and Aaron Nee. However, he noted that costs might have actually been double that. He said other knowledgeable sources estimate all-in costs for development at twice that figure, so $60 million if you double that. Donnelly would go on to detail that the budget for the planned film was coming in at over $200 million, but Netflix did not want to spend anything over $150 million. However, later in his report, the writer detailed that sources informed him that the film's producers tried to get the film made for $180 million, which would include the already significant development costs, such as the reported $30 million. That $30 million reportedly also included the purchase of the rights to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe distribution rights, basically. Donnelly would definitively claim the reason the film was scrapped was due to these budget concerns, writing, "The latest implosion at Netflix, according to 5 individuals with knowledge of the project, was over budget concerns." Responding to this report, Twitter user ZombieShoot speculated Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revelation might have also had something to do with the cancellation. The series has an atrocious 38% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and a dismal 5.5 out of 10 rating on IMDb, which you can see right there. So ZombieShoot tweeted, "That's what happens when you go woke. Looking at you, Kevin Smith, you ruined He-Man." You can see his tweet right there. And then he's got this gif here saying, "Congratulations, you messed up." Smith responded. He said, "It says in Variety that the movie was too pricey for Netflix, but I'm sure some other studio will snatch it up. Meanwhile, our Masters of the Universe Revolution animated series is almost completed. Bear McCreary is scoring episode 3 now, and we just mixed the first episode last week. Revolution, I think, is basically the second season to Revelation. It's just a continuation. They broke up the first season into 2 different parts, releasing 5 episodes in like the summer and then in the winter of 2021. Smith would also respond to Twitter user the Random58, who posited this. He said, "Come on, bro, let's be real. They're not willing to pay the money because your show failed so spectacularly that it killed any excitement for it. It's too pricey because they believe it'll flop. Honestly, it's shameful how you did He-Man. I still like your Green Arrow run, though." Kevin Smith that says, "I read the Variety article twice and I wasn't mentioned once. Meanwhile, Masters of the Universe Revolution, the sequel series, debuts in a few months. We have a panel about it at Comic-Con tomorrow, which is now, which will be yesterday when you guys see this." The Random 58 was undeterred. He says, "I'm aware that you weren't mentioned, but read between the lines. The only reason that Netflix isn't making it is because they don't think they can make the money back. Why don't they think they can? Could it be because a show of the same IP on their very own platform flopped?" Kevin Smith then says, "So by your logic, I guess Netflix figures they can make their money back on a second season of our animated series since they greenlit and paid for Masters of the Universe Revolution. Then again, maybe I'm just reading between the lines." The Random 58 fired back saying, "I don't know what the budget for the show is, but considering the number for the movie, it's probably a small fraction of that. So it's much more likely that they make money on that. Yes, it's also likely that if this one performs like the other 2 or 1, whatever y'all call it, it'll get axed." And then Smith says, "Yes, both animated series costs millions, but not 200 million. The number Variety indicated was the drawbridge too far for the movie division. Now we're on the same page. However, if Revolution does anywhere close to Revelation numbers, then we'll definitely get a season 3. So he also responded to another user who questioned whether the live-action film getting axed affected Masters of the Universe Revolution. He said, "Not at all." He says, "Not at all. That project was part of the movie division. Masters of the Universe Revolution is part of the animation division. I'm sure we'll wind up talking about it at the Masters of the Universe panel on Thursday afternoon at San Diego Comic-Con. But according to Variety, the big budget of the movie was the issue." So I do want to point out that second to last tweet that Kevin Smith talked about, where he was talking about the viewership needs to match Revelation. Revolution needs to match Revelation in order to get a 3rd season. But we don't know what the actual viewership was for Revelation because it never made it into the top 10 in Netflix's top 10 chart. So you can see here, this is for July 19 to July 25. This is the week that it debuted on the series. It did not make it into this chart. The lowest number on here is Virgin River Season 2, 13.7 million hours viewed in its first week. So Masters of the Universe Revelation had less than that. And then if you want to go to the next week, you've got The Good Doctor Season 2 is the last on the chart, and it was at 13.2 million. So it had less than 13.2 million. There nothing really to compare it to. You don't see any other animated shows on there. Maybe The Walking Dead Season 10 is a comparison similar to genre interest. Obviously, that's a zombie. Could be completely different audiences than He-Man, though, but it is kind of maybe in that same genre, though. And then if you go to part 2, when it was released November 23rd, you have it again not making the charts at all. The lowest this time was 10.5 million, Dynasty Season 4, but you do have a comparison. You have Arcane Season 1, its third season on the top 10 chart, and it was pulling in 29.6 million hours viewed. So huge numbers there. Interestingly, also we have Cowboy Bebop Season 1 was on there for its second week, did 36.9 million hours viewed. That show was immediately canceled after the first season. And they did say that they had ideas for second season planned out, but it was indeed canceled. Obviously, live action probably spending a lot more than the animation, but it does kind of give you a little bit of a barometer, maybe a comparison mark. But still, we don't really know what the hours viewed are for Kevin Smith's show. And then if we go to the second week, again, it's not on the chart. 12.4 million was the lowest there, so it had a little bit of a harder time to get up there because the previous week was 10.5. But then again, it's still, this time it was being beat by not just Arcane Season 1, which dropped to 18.1. So you can see that lost almost 10 million hours viewed from week to week. So one can only speculate that Masters of the Universe might have had an even bigger drop, or at least a similar drop there. And then you had another animated show debuted in the top 10 in its first week, 16.9, I think that is, for Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. So the views aren't that great for Masters of the Universe Revelation because they're not even in the Netflix's top 10 chart, let alone the Nielsen charts, which would include other competitors to Netflix. So it's really hard to know what the value is on the show, what the watch time was, how many people actually watched it. We do know that the people that did watch it did not like it, at least if you go by the Rotten Tomatoes and the IMDb scores. If you look at other people's reviews on YouTube, it seems that the consensus is that the series sucked, and Kevin Smith did a bait and switch on the audience. But that was his response. I don't know if I believe him. It's definitely telling that he's quickly responding to this and trying to change the narrative, I think. But I don't think that narrative is going to be changed. I think the quality of his show definitely had something to do with why the live action was canceled. I'm sure the budgets were definitely something there too, but I would think that there's probably a brand issue there. There's no way it didn't play a role into it. It might not have played a significant role. I might give Kevin Smith that, but I definitely think it had at least something to do with it, right? There's absolutely no way it didn't have anything to do with it.